What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gooner channel, a channel 100% dedicated to Arsenal Football Club, who, as we all know, are by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. And today's big story is that Liverpool are apparently saying, "Nay, Jude." They have pulled out of the race to sign England midfield maestro, 19-year-old superstar Jude Bellingham. If not the world's most sought-after player, certainly one of them. And the reasons they've given is that they have correctly, I think, assessed their need to rebuild the midfield and found that they cannot spend the amount of money it would take to bring Jude Bellingham as well as the other positions. So, timing of this, indicative, I think, also of the fact that Jude Bellingham's position on joining Liverpool may have cooled now that they're no longer in the Champions League running for next season. And he is a powerfully ambitious player who wants to win everything. And why shouldn't he? So, with Liverpool out of the race, I'm going to take a look at what this could mean in terms of, might Jude Bellingham be lining up in an Arsenal shirt next season? Well, first things first, he is actually contracted with Borussia Dortmund until 2025, and they are in with a very good shout of winning the Bundesliga this season. I know they lost the Klassiker in Tuchel's first game back, but it was a much closer game than the 4-2 scoreline suggests, and since then, Bayern have had a bit of a tough time going out of the German Cup and seemingly out of the Champions League to a fantastic performance by Man City in the home leg. I'm not saying it's not possible that they can get a couple of early goals and cause some tension in that tie, but to all intents and purposes, with a 3-0 first leg, it is looking pretty bleak for Tuchel's Bayern. So, is there a chance that all of this speculation is nonsense and that Jude Bellingham is actually planning to stay at Borussia Dortmund? If not as a title winner, then certainly in an attempt to help them win the title. Now, he loves the club. He said he wanted his brother to come there. He said there's something about the connection with the fans in Dortmund, and that certainly winning things at a club like Dortmund means so much more than they would at other clubs. So perhaps all of this speculation is going to come to nothing and he will stay at Dortmund. Personally, though, I think if you're in the title race and there is a chance that you can unseat Bayern from their 10 years of dominance in German football, then why wouldn't you just end all this speculation right now and say, I'm perfectly happy where I am? I don't think, therefore, I think the fact that that hasn't happened, therefore, means that he is almost certainly on the move this summer. And as I already said, he is, if not the most sought-after player in the world, certainly one of them. He will almost certainly go for more than Enzo Fernandez did to Chelsea, because teams that are in for him, well, it looks like pretty much everyone. There is, of course, a world in which Jurgen Klopp is managing Jude Bellingham next season. Jurgen Klopp is a massive fan of Jude Bellingham, which is why Liverpool have been so heavily invested in trying to bring him to the club, to the point where Steven Gerrard actually said he'd fly over to Germany and bring him back. Jurgen Klopp could be managing Real Madrid next season. Now, that was based on some, first of all, Carlo Ancelotti is almost certainly not going to be manager at Real Madrid, not just because they're miles behind Barca in La Liga, but also because he's been offered the Brazil job and it's hard to turn that down. Although Pep Guardiola did turn it down because he's determined to stay at City until they win the Champions League, which could happen this season, in which case, who knows who will be managing Brazil. But it's almost certainly true that Real Madrid will not be being managed by Carlo Ancelotti, which means that Jurgen Klopp would certainly be somebody that they would look to bring in, and he may take that position. He has, since that kind of speculation, come out and said that he is up for rebuilding Liverpool, and all of this talk about, who they're going to bring in the summer really suggests that Jurgen Klopp is sticking it out. And so it's unlikely. But this kind of uncertainty in who is going to be managing at Real Madrid surely will have some impact on Jude Bellingham's decision. They are the world's most successful Champions League club, so if you really do want to win something, then maybe go there. But it's not a given to me. I think he's probably more likely to fit in at Real Madrid and the players already there than some of the other teams on this list. So a real possibility, and when it comes to buying players, Real Madrid always have the funds to do it. So a real possibility is Real Madrid. Next on the list is Manchester City themselves. Now, something that has come up, though, is that Bild have reported that Jude Bellingham's ruled out certain clubs, and apparently the reason for doing that is that he sees some clubs as soulless and unattractive. The two clubs that they reference are PSG and Chelsea, so you can't disagree with him on that one. These are two unattractive, soulless clubs put together by billionaires as toys for very rich people with no real history and tradition. And so why would you want to play there, particularly given that PSG, the experiment in signing every great player in the world and trying to mould them into a team, that seems to be coming to an end now. And Chelsea, well, look, let's say they have so many players, they can't fit them all into a single dressing room. And if they splash another 130 million out after spending 600 million in the transfer window in January, then surely somebody at the financial fair play at UEFA is going to notice something is not quite right there, even if they offer him like a 100-year contract. So he seems to have ruled out PSG and Chelsea. They may have ruled themselves out as well. But in that vein, he says he's more interested in playing for a prestigious club with values like passion, honour and reputation. Does that possibly rule out Manchester City? Well, I'm not saying they don't have honour and passion. Financial fair play, again, maybe they don't have a lot of honour. But they definitely have. They definitely have one of the world's greatest managers. They definitely have one of the world's best teams, and they certainly would give him a chance to win things back in England, which, can't hurt your international chances, although I think he could be playing in Alaska and still get a call up. So Man City, Chelsea and PSG might be out of the running for that reason. Now you come to Manchester United. Look, I certainly don't think of myself as a Man United fan, but I think in terms of history, that's one of those clubs that's up there with Real Madrid. Arguably the biggest club in the world, or at least it was for a lot of years. They have passion, they have honour and all those things, and they have Ten Hag who's in the midst of a rebuilding process. And with the new owners, conceivably, they can splash as much cash as they need to. And they've never shied away from buying players when they wanted either. So Man United remain a hot prospect. In fact, this is how the bookies have it. The bookies have it as a favourite that he stays at Dortmund, which, as I've already said, I disagree with. The next favourites are Man City, then Real Madrid, and then a 14-1 Manchester United. And I think this has a lot more to do with the fact that Jude Bellingham's probably looking at United and thinking it's very difficult to see what the established team is there. They have recently won the League Cup, but I'm not sure that's the sort of trophies that he's looking at winning. So, having ruled out some of the world's biggest teams, is there anybody that I'm forgetting? Well, he's not going to Barcelona. They've got their own financial issues. I haven't mentioned any of the Italian clubs, but Italian clubs haven't been spending this kind of money for a while, and it's unlikely they're going to start doing it now. So, whilst I'm not necessarily ruling out that he might end up at, a Milan club or Napoli, it seems really unlikely they're going to be in this bidding war at this kind of rate. And I think, as I said, the amount is going to be about 130 million. So, could Arsenal find that kind of money? Well, we bid 75 million for Moses Caicedo. We're almost certainly signing Declan Rice for around 80 million. We don't need to do the kind of overhaul that other clubs around us need to do, the Manchester United's. So perhaps this is a really good time for us to sign a player who apparently was a whisker away from joining when Steve Morrow was chief scout. In fact, it was only the departure of Steve Morrow who had almost completed this transaction with Birmingham when Edu came in, and because he at that point didn't know a great deal about the Jude Bellingham, he apparently let it go, and boy, are we regretting that now. Although, look, if ifs and buts were pots and pans, we'd all be Claudio Ranieri. I think that the bookies have this about right. He's 28-1 to come to Arsenal. We just do not have the amount of money that we could spend 130 million on a single player. Although we do have a billionaire owner, we are one of the best supported clubs in the world, and we do have the highest season ticket prices. So it's not 100% clear to me why we can't be in the race for this one. But I think that Arteta has sensibly built his team up by going out and buying players who aren't the best in the world and then turning them into that. We have a team of players, a lot of people. We signed Martinelli for 6 million. No one had heard of him. He was in the second division in Brazil. We managed to progress Saka through the youth team. Odegaard, even when he signed after having been on loan with us, there were elements of the Arsenal fan base who thought Odegaard was overrated. I think they agree they're wrong now. Most of the team have been put together. Ben White was an overrated player at Brighton and now arguably one of the best right right-sided defenders in the country. Arteta is far more likely, along with they do, to go out and buy prospects, and I think Declan Rice fits that mould slightly better for us, slightly more affordable, and his salary isn't going to be the eye-watering 350,000 to 400,000 a week that Bellingham will get if he signs to someone else. So I'm not ruling us out of it. I'm really, really hopeful. My fingers are crossed. I really think that he would fit nicely into midfield alongside Thomas Partey. Or actually, why not sign both of them? Declan Rice, I've said this before, it's not my money. Go for it, Cronkies. If you want us to love you forever, do it. But overall, the likeliest prospect here is that he's going to be going to either Man City or Real Madrid. I'm not sure that I would consider Real Madrid anything but a soulless, heartless team. I'm not a fan of Real Madrid. Their history, their past, if you're not sure why, maybe look them up a little bit. But part of me is really worried that he might end up at Man City. But then who knows who's leaving Man City? My personal theory is that there's going to be one or two more surprise exits out, including possibly Pep Guardiola if they win the Champions League. So as much as I love watching Pep Guardiola's teams, I am supporting them massively. It's tough to see them do what they did to Bayern. But if they can get past Real Madrid, if they can win the Champions League and Pep Guardiola sneaks off to manage Brazil, then who knows if Jude Bellingham will want to be part of something where they're so turbulent and unsettled. Jude, if you're watching this, you know you're a gooner deep down. I know you get on with a number of the players already. You must do. Jude, if you're watching this, London, Arsenal, you can't go wrong. You become a legend here. You help us to lift the Champions League for the first time ever. We are a team of passion. We are a team of honour. And we certainly have soul. You know we got soul. Let's see you in an Arsenal show. More hope than anything there. Anyway, if you've liked this, then click like. That's the least you could do. If you haven't subscribed yet already, make sure you do that. There's a little bell that you have to ring as well so that I can wake you up in the early hours of the morning every time I've uploaded a new video. I'm posting every single day. And look, thank you all for your support so far. If you have any comments, I would love to hear them. Certainly, there's a number of you that think Jude Bellingham is completely overrated. I'm prepared to have that argument with you and prove to you that I'm right. If not immediately, then in 5 or 6 years' time when he's won everything in the game. Until next time, be lucky and lots of love.